Well, good morning, everybody. Hope everybody is doing well. My name is Thijs. Thank you for joining another episode of Web's Webinar Wednesday. I'm working at Web's for almost 4 years now, and I'm hosting the 19th episode of Web's Webinar Wednesday today. So happy to have you all here. We're talking about the evolution of CRM systems today. I will do that together with Steve Vaughan, who I will introduce later, but not everybody has visited multiple episodes in the past. So before we start, I will explain some easy rules of how we benefit today from all this information Steve is going to share with us. So a simple rule set of Web's Webinar Wednesday. As you notice, you're all on mute. You can make yourself known in the chat pane. If you feel comfortable enough, please make yourself visible via your webcam so we know who we are talking to. And if you have any questions along the way, the chat pane will be your biggest friend. Please use it to ask all your questions, and we will make sure that we answer it during the presentation. You can make notes, of course, but we also get you covered with the presentation and the recording of this morning afterwards. And we share a meeting link from Steve and from us in order to book some time with us. Because if you have any more questions after this hour, we're all there to help you discovering all the possibilities of different CRMs. Interesting subject today. As I said, my name is Thijs and I'm here with Steve Vaughan today. And I'm actually quite happy that Steve joins us because Steve has I think almost 8 or 9 years, like deeply senior experience in that sales field of work. So he worked with different CRM systems in the past. So he can show a lot of that evolution. He can share a lot of information of multiple CRM systems and how you can benefit from it and what are pain in the ass sometimes. So I'm really happy he's joining us today. Myself, I'm working as an account executive at Webs, so working in a daily basis in a CRM system as well. In my case, it's HubSpot, not very surprising for some of you, I guess. But yeah, let's dive in a little bit deeper. That's us, and I want to know something about you guys. So if you are opening your chat pane right now and take a look at the next question, we want to know a little bit more about you. So which describes your role the best? Is that maybe answer A, marketing, B, sales, C, management, D, director or business owner, or E, you're in IT? So we see the first marketers coming in. There's some management coming in. There's no IT yet. Give everybody a couple seconds. Sales. Okay, Steve. So we got some marketing, some sales, some management, but mostly marketing for later on.
I
Good
think
to know.
if anyone's at IT, they don't want to say they're in IT types. That's the thing. So
Okay, let's take a deeper look. Next question. If you are using a CRM right now, what's your feeling? Do you see it A as the magic wand for your commercial process? B, it's the single source of truth. You can answer multiple questions here. You think it's a pain in the ass, or you say we don't even have one. So what's coming up here, Steve? Take a look. It's like A's, B's. Oh, somebody's saying it's a pain in the ass.
Chris doesn't have one. Well, Chris, you might be in better company than some. Ad says it's a pain in the ass. Frank says single source of truth. Martine, single source of truth. We have a few different ones here. A and B from Caroline. Another one. Alec doesn't have one. We have another A there, the magic wand for our commercial process. Very good.
So yeah, it's interesting. Very good. And then the last question, and this is a tricky one. Does the CRM work for you, or are you working for your CRM system?
Think about it, guys. Don't rush your answer. Think about it. B, do you work for yours? Ad works. Okay, Caroline, perfect. We've got a C. Chris, there isn't a C.
Wow.
What is C? Chris, what is C? We don't have C. I love that. I love someone that chooses an option we don't give them. So anyway, let's see. Do you work for your
So
CRM? So Frank says he works for the CRM. Ad works for the CRM. Hand works for the
unfortunately,
CRM. Yeah.
yeah.
Bob works for the CRM. Different people. Yeah, unfortunately. Oh, I don't have a CRM, Chris. That makes sense.
So
But there's some
okay,
A's as well.
interesting.
The CRM works for some people, so it's a
Yeah.
mix. It's a mix of responses. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Mix of responses, but mostly B. So that's a little bit concerns me a little bit.
Mm.
So we can have some efficiency improvement over there. Talking about some efficiency improvement, like I think it's 3 weeks ago, I was joining Inbound 2020. It's the convention for marketing and sales professionals. Normally it's in Boston, but of course during because of COVID-19, it was this year's edition was online. And I have something that I would share with you because there was one presentation, and you can. I will share the slides in the aftermail. But it was this presentation given by a man named John Dick. He is working at HubSpot, and he showed how HubSpot used their own tool to build a 750 million plus revenue business. And I would recommend checking this out because it gives great insights of a journey, great insights of a horizon where you can be, um, and every challenge in between. And it was quite surprising and quite, it clarified a lot. So I will share the link to this presentation in the follow-up of this webinar, but you definitely have to go there because this is some figures HubSpot as a company went through their journey in 2014 into 2019. And a couple things here are very interesting, in my opinion, when I was joining this. For example, the number of offices and the number of employees. So there were like a big growth of multiple people and a big growth in multiple offices. And they're not in the same street, of course. They are global offices. So the thing is, there are more people working for the same goal on multiple locations. And they got these results with that. So they got this amazing growth, this amazing revenue growth. But this, of course, has some challenges in their technology stack, in the way how they work. How do you put your client success in the center of all this? Like, how can you organize such growth if you have these challenges of multiple people and multiple countries? And what are we doing actually if we are in a commercial process? So let's zoom out one step higher here. This is actually the thing that I said. Like, how can you put your customer in the center? How can you make sure that you help them in every need of their journey with your organization? It can be a new visitor on your website who doesn't even know you and just triggered by this tremendous blog article. But it also can be that recurring revenue client who is happy after week and is upgrading and upselling all the time. So, and everything in between that, like how do you know where those people are located? You have a marketing process for that, you have a sales process for that, and you have a services or a customer success process for that. And how can you align all those things? That's where this flywheel comes in, because if this circle, and Steve knows all about this, is spinning like crazy, you will grow, because then there is no friction, because friction will prevent this wheel from spinning. So how can we add force to these processes and reduce the friction with a good process, with good people, and with good technology in order to generate that growth? And Steve, I think that changed. So can you take us back? Share your screen if you want. You can take it over here because I'm really curious about the lessons you can share us on how sales has changed.
Super. Yeah, thanks, Thijs. Lovely to be with you all. Thanks for coming. Yeah, I'm Steve and I work at HubSpot. And I started in 2013. Thijs just had a slide that said 2014, so I'm going to share a bit of my story. But let me start by saying this. Sales has changed and changed quite dramatically. And it's about that balance of how you add force and reduce friction in the sales process. Today's most disruptive companies are winning on customer experience. That's the key. And CRM, therefore, is at the center of it all. So at HubSpot, we preach customer experience as being the core pillar of our strategy. And the most successful companies, typically initially in the B2C space, but now increasingly in the B2B space, are winning on customer experience. It's not what you sell, it's how you sell it. It's not your great product or service, it's your great customer experience. So the B2C businesses have got ahead of this, and now B2B is catching up. And there's these brands and companies that are winning because their customer experience, because the way you engage with their brand on their product and their service is so easy and delightful, and the bar to entry is so low, and the benefit and the value you get is so much. So you're giving so much value before you extract value. That's the key, that they're now leading us. And so we need to catch up and thinking, how do we win in sales? And this will apply now to CRM by having the best customer experience. Like, everyone's had a CRM except for Chris. Sorry, Chris. Everyone's had a CRM apart from Chris on this call, or you've used one where, it's this place where you store all your data, and it's the place where you have your companies and your contacts and your deals, and you have to process the deals and all the rest. So CRMs have been around for years and years and years. The challenge is, technically they had it all. You could do everything, and we'll come on to this. You could report, you could have your data, you could have some kind of prospecting, you could have automation, you could have configure, price, and quote tools, but it was a Franken system. It told you it had everything, but it was all cobbled together, and therefore it wasn't the greatest experience for the sales user, and that then affected the experience of the buyer. In aiming for infinite flexibility, most CRM systems became endlessly complicated. More than 1/3 of CRM implementations projects eventually fail. My manager here at HubSpot, since soon after I started, so for 7 years, he used to work in Salesforce in his previous job. And he recounts a story where an enormous Salesforce implementation was happening in London. And, a huge kind of commercial deal and lots of stakeholders, and it took a long time. Hugely expensive. It never even got implemented. Never even got implemented. Because it had everything, but it was not the easiest thing to get going. And that was sort of 10 years ago. So that's the challenge. That they have everything, but it's too complicated to even use or use effectively. Why is that? Why did CRM get to that place? Because it was built for the budget holders, and it wasn't built, or they forgot about the day-to-day users. And so more than 50% of sales leaders say their CRM is difficult to use. Now, we just asked you the question at the beginning of this webinar, do you work for your CRM, or does your CRM work for you? And more people said, I work for my CRM. That tells the story. So the number one reason why CRM implementations fail is because they're miserable to use. No one wants to adopt it. It doesn't help them, even if it helps the budget holders or helps the person in operations. So technically, these legacy CRMs can do everything. They can. But they're surprisingly incomplete because you have to add everything on to make them do everything, and you end up with the Franken system. So 47% of sales leaders don't believe their current CRM is powerful enough to help them grow over the next 3 years. Even though officially it can do everything, they don't actually have the confidence that it can do everything. So let me just tell you my story in sales. Let me indulge you to a nice personal story about using CRMs. That's what you wanted on your Wednesday morning, wasn't it? I've worked in sales for 8 years. I started in Oracle, great company. Wonderful experience, great training, and yeah, very, very successful company. Not a single rep in the company wanted to use the CRM. We had to. It took me so long to figure it out. I remember like I was still 6 months in and they were saying, oh, you need to do this, and then you have to add this, and then you have to send a ticket off here. We were pulling our hair out, and no one really sold the CRM because no one enjoyed using their CRM. So that was the challenge with Oracle. And so when I was at Oracle, everyone was buying Salesforce. And so we never really sold the CRM. We sold other things, but not the CRM. And I remember thinking, oh, I just would love to get my hands on Salesforce. And so then I came to HubSpot 7 years ago, 2013. I was like, hallelujah, praise the Lord, they use Salesforce. And so I suddenly was using this much more nimble, easy to use, more helpful tool. And it was great compared to Oracle. And obviously Salesforce, if you know the story, had come out of Oracle. The founder had Benioff, and it disrupted the whole CRM space by coming out and doing it in the cloud and making it much more easy. But then 3 or 4 years of using Salesforce, it ended up with all these challenges as it got endlessly complex for our business. It became less and less user-friendly for the sales for me. So I would use Evernote. I would use spreadsheets to do forecasting for my manager. You know, I had the CRM, but we were doing all this stuff outside of it, and it wasn't that easy. And then we had the marketing tool, which was HubSpot, because we were a marketing company at that time. And so we used like our marketing product, but we used Salesforce, and they was at sync, and you can see your contacts in it. But there was moments where you think, oh, we're missing something. Despite the sync being helpful, it was still missing something. And then we came out with our CRM. And we weren't allowed to use it for 1 year because, you know, these transitions take time to move over. If you've been using Salesforce for 10 years, you don't just switch it off like that. So, and I was in the team in the company that used our CRM last for whatever reason as we did the store. So we were like pulling our hair out going, give me this beautiful thing that we can so easy to use and so helpful. And eventually we did, and I've been using HubSpot for 3 years. And the same experience I had with moving from Oracle to Salesforce, I've had now moving from Salesforce to HubSpot in terms of ease of use and helping me do my job, wanting to use it, finding it enables me, that I don't work for my CRM, that my CRM works for me. It helps me with my productivity and to do my job better. So that's my personal story. Now, the challenge initially was HubSpot was built as, so it wasn't a challenge, it was the way HubSpot was built as a CRM was not with the budget holder and the operations director and the IT, the CTO in mind in the business. It was built with the sales rep in mind, me. So when I started to use it, it was so simple. And then what we've done over the 3 or 4 years of building our CRM system is we've made sure it's powerful enough. And that's kind of where we've gone this year, to make sure it's super powerful, that can match all that complexity and scalability. So in 2020, you no longer have to choose between powerful, Oracle, Salesforce, and easy to use other systems that are kind of good sales acceleration tools, but they don't have the power. We're saying that you don't have to, you know, typically what happened historically was we're just going to have to accept that this CRM is not that easy to use, but it's powerful. Or you go, okay, well, look, and we're going to therefore buy our sales reps lots of like these other tools on the side to do their job that are easy to use. And we're saying you don't have to make the trade-off. You don't have to make the decision like that. You can do the two together. And that's my experience. And as Thijs said, when I joined HubSpot, I was employee number 503. And we're now over 3,500 employees. I was in the second office that just opened in Dublin. We're now 9 offices. I remember the day about a year into working for HubSpot, we had 15,000 customers and we sent 15,000 orange ping pong balls down some stairs to celebrate. And now we have 7. Like, we have scaled on our system, on our CRM globally, and it's powerful enough, but it's still easy to use. So thanks for putting up with my personal story. And I'm going to hand back to Thijs because I think it's time for some Q&A. So over to you, Thijs.
Thank you, Steve. Interesting how that works. The 3 levels of going into more and more scalability, but also easy of use easiness of use. That's very interesting. Let me give everybody a couple seconds. If you have any questions at this stage, like please use the chat, and make sure that we can cover anything over here. Steve, in the meantime, I have a question for you. You have said multiple times I was pulling my hair out. Is using different tools the biggest pain in the ass in that moment, that you have multiple sources of information, or is there something else you said, like, this was literally killing me in doing my job?
The multiple tools is a killer for anyone in management, ops, senior leadership, because you just can't pull the reports. And so you lose track of the deals, you lose track of where they've come from, you can't attribute what's going on, that's a nightmare. Reporting becomes so you spend a whole day reporting and you're spending all this time doing reports, and that's a nightmare. So that's the challenge of multiple tools. From a sales rep's perspective, sometimes that gets in the way because you can't see your deals accurately, or you can't see the forecasting as well, and there can be some challenges, or you can't see which leads from marketing you should be working first. And so yes, but the biggest challenge for sales users is not so much multiple tools. It's like, the tool I've been given to use doesn't help me do my job. Yeah. So therefore what then happens is I start using tools that aren't my CRM, but these clever point solutions, sales accelerator, but then I have to then transfer it over, and then I'm using two. So maybe I'm then using two. So it's more that the CRM is not built with the sales rep in mind to serve up the data about their prospects, to show them alerts when the good leads come in, to make sure they have accuracy on their forecasting, all those kind of helpful to give them automation and scale, so they can scale their personalization in their outreach and things like that. It doesn't do that for you. That's the biggest challenge for me.
All right. There are two questions coming in, one from Denise and one from Bob. Let's start with the one from Bob. He's asking, HubSpot is known for marketing and it's less known for good CRM. In what aspects are you improving the CRM now and in the near future?
Bob, that's the end of this webinar. So if I haven't answered the question at the end of the webinar, ask it again, please. So I'm coming to that. Yeah, great question. This is where you'll see the releases we've made, and this is our big thing for this 2020, is to make sure our CRM is very powerful and robust and broader and deeper. So I'm going to show you at the end, Bob, but come back if there's more there.
Yeah. And Denise it's a user case. She says something about there's a connection between HubSpot and their other CRM, and a lot of the follow-up emails are not delivered in a way. We should dig into that, Denise. So feel free to, after this presentation, there is a meeting link. Feel free to book some time so we can dig in a little bit deeper, and we will help you getting this solved, of course. It's no problem. Last question for now for Frank. Can you explain in more detail why HubSpot is more easy to use than, for example, Pardot of Salesforce?
Yeah. So
same answer, I think.
Yeah. Well, yes and no. Two things. So Frank, first of all, Pardot is the Franken system, right? So, I work for HubSpot, okay? Just to say that, because I realize that. But let me say this. HubSpot has not acquired any company. Well, we've acquired one or two, mainly for the talent, and we have acquired something in Belgium that helps us with some integration stuff. But as a core product, we have built it ourselves from scratch. We haven't acquired anything. We haven't bolted on extra things. What happened in Oracle when I worked for Oracle, and I remember going through all their training, was the strategy to growth is acquisition. And Oracle would be, Larry Ellison would just get out his credit card every month and just acquire a new company and go, right, go and sell that, and we'll add it in. And it was, basically that's what Salesforce are now doing. So Pardot wasn't built by Salesforce. And the Pardot Salesforce connector we have heard from Pardot users that moved to HubSpot is no more better than the HubSpot Salesforce connector, because it wasn't built on the same, all as one tool. It was a bolt-on. So that's the first thing to say. There's a different methodology. And so, Salesforce acquired ExactTarget, they acquired Pardot, they acquired 2 or 3 social media tools way back, and they've tried to bolt them all together. So you don't end up with that nice system with it's all working well together. And they're not investing in Pardot in the same way that we would, because it was that. So that's the first thing. There's a methodological difference, which I do think means a massive different user experience. The second thing to say is that when I'm comparing Salesforce to HubSpot right now, I'm talking about the CRM. Pardot is the marketing side of things. And that's to do with our HubSpot marketing. And you can look at G2 Crowd, or you can talk to customers. Typically, we have much more features and much easier to use. So that would be a standard. And I work for HubSpot, so you go and do the research, but that would be fairly standard there. So there will be some thoughts for you, Frank. I'm very happy to take that off. The third thing then, so different methodology, the actual power of the 2 tools, like in terms of marketing, Pardot and HubSpot marketing. And then the third thing is just to come back to this idea of adoption. You will need some technical people to work Salesforce effectively in your business. It's a heavier implementation. So that you just need to be aware of the technical complexities that will come with that. I work for HubSpot, so you go and do your own research. Thijs, anything you want to add to that question?
Yeah, I do. I understand what you're saying, and I understand you say you work for HubSpot. But the thing is, who is actually paying or solving all those integrations? In my opinion, that's actually the end user of all that perfect 360 Salesforce environment. But the thing is, if it's built up like you told us, those integrations they're not there. It's like one all-in-one platform, like one system with your customer data in the center. And maybe it's good to continue. I will make sure, because let me share my screen here. You were saying this, right? Like we are. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, you can see your screen.
Okay, cool. Not everyone is as good as HubSpot, like you said, right? You are working for HubSpot, so we know that you're very enthusiastic about that. I'm a personal fan of HubSpot as well, and that's why I work at a HubSpot agency. But in the end, we are also helping from that agency, or with that agency, with 40 colleagues over here. We are helping a lot of those traditional companies who are in a different phase or in different part of their journey of optimizing their commercial process. So what I would like to do now is to share some of the key insights we got from our last year or so, where we have some challenges facing at our customers. And the first one is that powerful thing you mentioned as well. Everybody is saying, and that's why Salesforce it seems to be very strong, of course. Yeah? You say like, okay, your CRM needs to power your business processes, right? It's not that you work for your CRM. Your CRM makes your life easier, as you said. But now and in the future, because you are going to grow your business. So what are you going to choose? Like, are you choosing that strong, powerful system as Salesforce or other tools right now? What's the downside of that power? Is that it takes, for example, a very long implementation. And when is a CRM working for you? If it's supporting your business needs, if people understand how to adapt it into their daily work, if that's not a big hassle, it's working for you instead of you are working for the system. So the downside of starting with this big, powerful system is a long implementation, for example, a lot of training, like how you connect everything and make sure that every person or every department is working with it. Like those kind of discussions we see at a lot of clients when they are considering optimizing their CRM system. So ease of use is always a topic. Try to think of the ease of use of your CRM platform, because that's vital. There's a little point in investing in a platform that should support your marketing, sales, and service teams when it's too complex to use, right? I mean, if it's so super complex to use and you can't adapt it in all those organizations, in marketing, sales, and customer success teams, it's very difficult to make it work for you as well. So this is something we've seen by a lot of companies who have multiple sales teams, multiple sales countries, or multiple sales offices in different countries, I have to say. How can you add everybody to the system, make sure that everybody adapts it in their daily basis? What about support? The train is going. People are always considerate about, okay, or concerned, sorry, about what if we are working with it? And I have some questions like, how scalable is that support? Do we need an agency like Webs every time we have a question? Do we need very expensive consultancy from Salesforce or HubSpot or whatever, if we have a question, if we need to add something to our system, or if we need something to be solved. So think of a solution or a platform that supports a 24/7 availability of a support desk, but also um, that it doesn't cost an arm and a leg. Like I said, if you want anything to change, it's a big concern by choosing a CRM system in the beginning that you have multiple years of expensive consultancy. So think of that. Holistic solutions, that's actually the point Steve mentioned in a certain way as well. If you need to scale your system, you want to scale because you are growing, you need multiple processes into the system. Are you buying another system connected to your system, or is it that system a holistic solution, like Steve mentioned? Think of a CRM platform, what's doing the job, and make the distinguishment between, for example, front office and back office. Do you see CRM more like an ERP kind of system, or is it something that solves everything around your commercial relevant moments, for example? So think of that, like, what does it need to do? Start from your business objectives, think of the processes you want to solve, the people who need to work with it, and then make the decision on tooling and make it an holistic solution. So this is actually a picture I got from the case study I mentioned in the beginning of this webinar. And this is a very clear picture on how we are helping those traditional companies in the manufacturing, in the IT, on scaling their technology stack, on serving for the customer. So for example, the pink bar here in the bottom, think of the system of record, put a system of content above that. So Denise, that's your question, the system of content, who's doing the follow-up emails and all those kind of things. And then finally think of ways, systems to get that engagement going on. So, and HubSpot's platform has this all integrated as a holistic part. You have the CRM, you have the CMS hub, where you have all this website and follow-up going on after that, in the engagement tools on the marketing hub, the sales hub, and the service hub. And now, based on making this tech stack above each other, you can also say, like, okay, if we need any custom development, or we need slightly changes since our process or our client needs is slightly different, you can always add that. And then finally, if you make a technology stack, a landscape, a whole platform, think of, okay, I have that ERP as a legacy system in my organization. How does this integrate with each other? Then you can also always make friendly API connections to this technology stack on the left side, and legacy systems like an ERP system, for example, in your organization. And by doing this, taking the inside out approach, in this case, you think of your own technology stack and combine this with the outside in approach of your customer journey. Those two combinations make it a very powerful technology stack to generate your growth. So it's not that you have to be as big or as far as a HubSpot example. It's like, think also very close, think about yourself, take these steps in mind. What do you have implemented based on those parts of your technology stack, and start also combining that with the outside-in approach of your client needs. What do they need in terms of their information, in terms of their engagement with you as a client, and make sure that that will combine on both sides to have the full powerful technology stack, scalable for the future, but also easy to use for all your people within the organization. And then the CRM will work for you, and makes it very powerful in order to make sure that you can enable your growth and reduce the friction. So Steve, over to you.
Thijs. So
yeah, can you hear me?
yeah, I think
Yeah, cool.
Yeah. So what we're trying to say here, guys, in 2020, you no longer have to choose between powerful and easy to use. You don't have to make that trade-off and think, hey, I'm going to have the powerful, but my reps aren't going to want to use it or be able to use it. Or I'm going to have something my reps want to use and can use, but doesn't help with the business processes. You don't have to make the trade-off. Historically, you either had the legacy CRMs here, which are built for the ops, built for IT, super powerful, can do everything your business needs, but no one wants to use it. Or you have the easy to use, the kind of point solutions that help with the everyday sales job, but don't connect with the scalable power. So what we've tried to do here, and this comes back to our good friend Bob. Bob was asking, what have you done? Well, we've come up with the Sales Hub Enterprise. So it's our top edition to try and solve for the two. We think making a choice between powerful and easy is a false choice, and we want to have the best of both worlds without compromising either world. So this is how we think about it. Let's talk about the power. The new Sales Hub Enterprise comes packed with enterprise-grade CRM, like the custom objects is a big deal, AI-powered sales acceleration tools, connected CPQ. I always get that the wrong way around. I want to say QPC, CPQ, configure, price, and quote tools, and streamlined sales reporting. So it has everything you want, and then so you've got the product, the platform, and then as Thijs was saying, the partner ecosystem. So that's how we're thinking about that power to help you as you scale. So let's go through some of them. The first one, and this has been something that's been asked for a long time now, is custom objects. You want to be able to structure your data in your business differently, and then run reports and automation based off different objects. Now, to keep it really simple, most CRMs and HubSpot CRM, you have accounts, you have contacts, you have companies, accounts, deals, and tickets. Those are your kind of standard objects. You can now have custom objects where you can then, which are more useful for your business. For example, real estate, property, or subscriptions, or students, or if you're an education company, or SaaS subscriptions, if you're a SaaS company, or shipments. Different things that actually help you organize and structure your business, make more sense for you. You can organize your data structure, not just around the standard objects, but the custom objects. The good news is they're as simple and as easy to use in many ways as they work in the same way as the standard objects. So for those of you that want to scale your business and really have that CRM acting as a business process tool, this is a huge advancement and a really big help. We have teams and permissions. So we've got a robust set of tools to help you administer that larger set of teams. Thijs talked about We now have over 3,500 employees. We have 9 offices. We have different divisions. So, that's a modern big company. You have all this, global complexity and division complexity, and you want to make sure that the right people have the right access to the right things. And maybe as importantly, the wrong people don't have the wrong access to the wrong things. So you have integrity of all of your data, and to ensure that you have field level permissioning on all the properties, and then managers and administrators can control and make sure that's structured well. So that's become obviously we've had that for a while, and we just keep adding in levels of complexity there, which is really helpful. We have account-based marketing and selling, which we've had for a while now, for nearly 6 months. But it means that if you're more thinking about an enterprise and you're going after the big accounts, then not just it's not so much a numbers game, but a quality game, and you're going after set accounts, and we can help you there with your reporting and giving you insight. And we have over 8,000 customers in HubSpot that have already turned on the ABM tools and are finding great value there. And we have a load of other tools there, whether sales automation, lead rotation, prospecting tools, inbox integration, customization, a product library. I didn't mention that. There's a whole load of extra functionality in the product library, and single sign-on. So there's power now with the custom objects, with the deep level of permissioning, as well as a number of other tools. What about the sales acceleration? Do you remember how I phrased it? You've either got the powerful thing for the company, or you've got the easy of use thing for the reps. Well, we still want to help the reps do their job and give them the tools so the CRM works for them. So we have a load of new tools coming in here. Advanced sequences, so you can orchestrate the sales process across every channel, including we've now got LinkedIn, so you can add the LinkedIn tasks and emails as part of your sequences. To help you to reach out to your reps. We have artificial intelligence, which means you can automatically populate your CRM with important data. So this, here's an example. Our AI improvement now has the ability to scan a prospect's email signature and automatically pull in relevant information like name, job title, company, and other things that will probably save a sales rep 1 hour and 50 minutes per week. Now, if you scale that to that 1 rep per year, and then you scale that for, say, 500 reps or 300 reps or 30 reps, that's a massive little thing. It's a very little thing that creates a massive difference, just being able to enrich the data in the database. This is fire. Wow. Jason, you're welcome to come back to any webinar I ever do with comments like that in the chat. This is fire. Good man. And we have a dozen more features in there to help you accelerate your sales process. Predictive lead scoring, notification and tracking. Some of you are familiar with this if you use HubSpot. Our Playbooks tool, if you're talking about sales adoption, helping your sales team, you want to bring on new recruits, you want to bring them on in COVID, where you can't be in the same office, you have to onboard people remotely. I was speaking to a sales manager yesterday with Thijs, and he's saying it's really tough onboarding new reps into HubSpot who are now having to do it in their office, not in the office, but in their bedroom or in their living room. Playbooks. Giving your reps simple, like a playbook, a simple script, a simple flow for every sales call that they just go, whoa, I have it in front of me. I'm brand new to HubSpot, but I know how to run a sales call. Meeting scheduling, templates and documents, live chat and bots, call and the transcription of that call, one-to-one video, Slack integration. So some nice tools there. We also, we have these configure price quote tools, and this is going to be a huge part of making sure that sales reps have everything they need to ensure that they can close the business and make sure that turns into cash as quickly as possible, or as easy for the end user to, we talked about it's not what you sell, it's how you sell. If you create a quote and then it's really hard to complete that quote and it doesn't look nice, and the end user needs to make sure that it's a very good user experience. So we can customize, and the product library is much more flexible now around the quoting tool. So, for example, our proposals, you can tailor them exactly to how you want, and you can use Design Manager and on-brand proposals to make it much more customizable, or you can use some of the out-of-the-box ones that we're going to provide for you. So it's a much more immersive, visually rich experience to help you propose and showcase your products and pricing to your prospects. So that's going to be a really, well, that is, and it's going to be an increasingly a very helpful tool there. Similarly, thinking about the power now, and so making sure that when we're sending out deal quotes and people are signing on those nice looking quotes and proposals, that then the next stage of the process happens. So we're just following it through. You generate the leads, you create the deals, you work the deals. HubSpot's helping you with all this. You make sure it's nice and easy to close because it's a nice proposal and a quote. Once it's closed, what happens? Well, we need to make sure that all the accounting integrations and the financial tools that you use, NetSuite, QuickBooks, Online, Xero, Nubox, whatever the accounting software you use to generate invoices, associate tax codes and sync currencies, all that stuff. We don't want to reduce friction. We don't want to suddenly make it very hard for you or for the prospect. So we want you just to be able to build the relationships with the customers, give them a delightful experience so they're happy coming on board. And then sales reporting. This is for sales leaders, so they've got the visibility, but also for reps, so that they know what's going on in their funnel and their deals and their leads. So we have we've had lots of reporting. We've even got more now for the sales for the sales leader. Those sales analytics, easy customizable forecasting that's built in. So you can see how your team's working and where they can improve. And we have this kind of nice new funnel, a deep pipeline waterfall summary that shows you how your sales team is doing over time and where the deals go and which ones increase in value and decrease. And you can start to map the whole process of a given month or quarter or year and what's happening and why. So you gain control over your funnel. And there's other stuff as well. Visual dashboards, deep custom reporting, standard reports, pipeline snapshot, ABM, other things as well there. Final thing, because it's just coming out, it helps people who are using the CRM and marketing together in HubSpot that we've now, in a week's time, we're going to be releasing marketing contacts, which is basically you pay for the contacts that you are using rather than the contacts that you're not using as well. And so this has been a request from many years. And so it just separates out. These are the decent contacts that we're using. These aren't the ones that we're marketing to. We're not sending emails. We're not doing any ad engagement with, but we still want them in our CRM. So that's it. It's just particularly for using our marketing side, it helps with the pricing and scaling. And it means you're paying for the actual the contacts that you use rather than don't. So look, that's a little bit more producty, a little bit more maybe salesy. It's not intentional, but I was trying to help Bob. If you guys didn't like that, just think of Bob. He asked the question, I've given him the answer. So you're very welcome, Bob. But I think it's back over to you, Thijs, or back over for Q&A, isn't it?
Yeah, let's use some last minutes of this 19th episode for some Q&A. Thank you, Steve. Yeah, maybe it's a little bit about the product, but it's good. It gives insights on how it works, and you can easily make the translation into your own daily work and see if HubSpot can solve some problems for you. So I hope Bob and other people are happy. Let's give them, yeah, good question in the chat, Steve. Give everybody a couple seconds. Do you have any questions, certain functionality you want to know more about, or other things you want to know? In the meantime, I have a question on a little bit of, there's a question of Jan already. He says, Steve, please make it so that associated company can get scraped form company name.
I think that's probably scrapped, so you can edit it. Yeah, scrapped from. Yeah, and I'll make sure that happens by the end of today, no problem. That's the kind of power I have in HubSpot. You're very welcome. and we can do that. In all seriousness, Jan, let's take that off. If there's something there, let's follow up with Thijs and the webs team or myself. We can help. Bob says, difficult to tell since I cannot compare it to Salesforce or Dynamics. Yeah, and you know, we can help with that, or webs can, Bob, if you have any follow-up questions there.
I had one more slide, Steve. Can you put it on the screen, or are you just left? I will do it, no problem. 1 second. Because that's something we want to give everybody, right? We have a final presentation slide over here. There we go. And it's you again on a very nice picture. But this is important, guys. There are 2 links here below, and they give access to either Steve's calendar and to the web's calendar of my colleague D. Since Steve is on holiday, right, next week, so we put both calendars in there, so you can find a spot today, tomorrow, or even next week or the week after that, if you have any further questions on HubSpot or a CRM comparison, or how to get HubSpot into your organization, or how to get a CRM discussion started in your organization. Please let us know. We can help you from the more traditional side if you're not like as big as HubSpot for sure, but yeah, we can do that. That's it, Steve. I would really like to thank you for this morning. I know it's even 1 hour earlier all the way there in Dublin, but I like the energy, great insights. Good to have you on this call. Thank you everybody for joining. We have another episode next week. You will get the recording, what I said, of this webinar, and we hope to see you anytime soon. Thank you so much, Steve, and we talk soon.
Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye. Take care. Have a good day.